This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why hire a camera operator when the control is in your hands? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster TC1. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtek.com for more information.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Game Time. We are back and we've got the crew here. We've got Glen Planamento.
Are we live?
Yeah, well, I almost wasn't alive because it took you, you decided to crash your computer 10 minutes before the show.
I did. And you know what? It's actually a really good workstation, and the microphone wasn't working. I fixed it. We all went, yay! And then my machine went, and that was it.
We had this weird tapping, and poor Bill. We got Bill. We got Bill burnt. I'm like, Bill, am I going nuts here, or are you hearing this? It sounds like a helicopter tapping. He's like, nope.
No, I thought my pacemaker was acting up for a minute there.
And we've got Jayde from Shelion Gaming, and we've got her microphone situated all up. Look at beautiful game room behind.
Better.
It's all good.
What's that?
What's going on?
She has. It's nice having a lady on there. Everything's nice and clean and beautiful and pretty. Look at my place. It looks like
So
at the moment, of course, at the moment.
So we have something really cool for you guys, an exclusive from Glen. We want you guys to stick around. Later on, right, Glen? We're gonna unveil this.
Well, instead of doing it now, we could do it later, right? People love waiting.
A big announcement. If you haven't been following his leaks on social media, pretty soon they'll be saying this is the other GRS show, right?
No, I only got 2 subs anyway.
All right, let's get into our first topic here. Let's take a look at Arcade 1-Up.
Arcade 1-Up. News and notes.
Okay, so basically one of the things that I was kind of curious about was, what is the difference between the Shinku Hadouken and the Yoga Flame? And there's been a lot of conversation and controversy over a lot of different aspects of it. But kind of the big thing for me is the overall look of it, the overall presentation of it. And I feel like the Shinku Hadouken between the two cabinets gives you more of a Street Fighter feel, just as far as the overall design and colors. Like the marquee, for example, the control panel, and the control panel really does reflect nicely what the authentic control panel looked like. Alas, it's much, much smaller, but the overall feel you get, the bezel art, everything about it just feels like a step away from kind of the same old design that they've been doing with the Champion Edition arcades. And I'm just kind of curious, how everybody else feels about it, because there's also the repetitive side of that they've released all of these versions of Street Fighter cabs. And I think this is kind of feels like it's going to be the last one to me. And, we should be moving on to the alphas or Street Fighter 3 from here going forward. But the overall look and feel, even though it has that midway design, yes, we all know, I think it's much more refined than any of the previous cabs that they have released up to this point.
I'm kind of curious as to, because there was a lot of people that really didn't like this artwork or like the artwork of the other one. What do you guys think? I mean, I think it looks cool. It looks like a comic. I know it's not exactly like the arcade, but Bill, Glen?
I think the colors are what really stand out to me. That gives the overall feel of it a little bit more of a Street Fighter feel to me when I think about Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo and the colors, the control panel, and all of that. That's how I feel about it. I didn't really like the Yoga Flame because to me, it was just, for one thing, it was like too much orange and it was a little bit overwhelming. And then I know that like the monitor on the Yoga Flame isn't supposed to be as good as whatever they're putting in the Shinku Hadouken, which is only going to be available on Shop Hippo, I believe.
I'm kind of looking here at the chat room, and let me see what Alfred said. I think I'd rather go with the cabinet that looks more authentic. And there's going to be those people, right, guys? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Right.
Bill,
Yeah.
what about you?
No-
What do you think about
No,
it?
no, I hadn't heard that about the monitors. I thought they were both going to have the BOE monitors in it, so that's a little bit of a surprise to me. And I thought that people who had reviewed the Yoga Flame said it was a BOE monitor in it. But I do agree on the artwork. I never really liked that Yoga Flame one. It just, the yellows and the oranges just didn't really do it for me. Whereas I do like the Shinku Hadouken, the blue coloring to it. I mean, it's basically it's basically the same art on both with very like minimal differences other than, a little bit of the coloring. But I do like it better. And I'm a comic book geek, so to know that the Udon artists did this was kind of a huge thing for me. So
I think another
even
thing
though-
too,
Yeah.
with these is that like the dynamic with one-ups is that people are like, okay, well, you know what, that looks nothing like the original cab or whatever. But if we step away from that and we think about what Arcade One-Up is doing with these, is they're not necessarily in all cases trying to make it look exactly the same way because it is a separate licensed product. So what they're putting out is they may be putting out the same games, but these products themselves aren't always going to mimic perfectly, especially in the case of like fighting games. Having some originality to them, I think, is a cool element, or it can be a cool element. It may not be all the time because you have people who are very, like, they hold on to, certain ideas of the arcade industry, and that's fine. But that's one thing that I think is cool and important to remember about Arcade One-Up is when they're doing cabs like these specifically, is that I don't think it's a bad thing that there's an element of originality mixed in with the original.
Glenn, what do you think about the artwork? I mean, all in all, are you more of the purist, like you would have to have the cabinet that resembles the arcade, or are you cool with this artwork?
I have to admit, first of all, I'm not a huge Street Fighter fan to begin with, so I'm a little tainted as far
Glenn.
as I'm a Mortal Kombat guy. I'm Mortal Kombat and King of Fighters. That's kind of my thing. I was never really into Street Fighter per se. Definitely Tekken. Love Tekken. But in any case,
Okay.
the artwork
Maybe
looks
in the
okay. For me, the artwork is an aesthetic thing. For me, it's more of the controls and the display. As long as the display is the right aspect ratio for the title game, and as long as the controls are good, to me, that's where it really shines. To be honest, almost all of us have multiple arcade one-ups. So we don't really see the sides much anyway, just from my perspective. Usually see just the front, So from that point, I don't think that's a huge deal breaker for me. As long as the controls are good, that the PCB actually turns on when you turn it on. That
The core elements work right.
Yeah, when you get it, the parts fit aren't broken. Those are the key points for me. And besides, to be quite honest, if you're really not happy with the artwork, but everything else is fine, Joe Sabo, Arcade Graphics, I know you have to spend a little more money on it, but you can really customize it then exactly the way you want it. So again, as long as the cabinet's okay, the game's okay, the gameplay is okay, the artwork, either you don't see it, you can't see mine, you can see I got my Pac-Man there, and Mortal Kombat, you can kind of see it, but if you really want that artwork to be perfect, you can always add it yourself and then, make it your own. People do that with their cars with hubcaps, right?
Yeah, and that's what Kev Gret's saying here in the chat room. He says, who cares about the artwork? You're all going to smush them together anyways. But I think there's a lot of people out there that do buy these cabinets specifically for the artwork and nothing else. They don't look at the components inside. And I know, Jayde, you want to kind of get into this a little bit with components in these arcades, not just Arcade One-Up, but these home arcades, and even, I guess, this kind of falls under full-size arcades, right?
Yeah, definitely. and this was kind of something that I discussed on my last live as well, was just the control element. And everybody is like, okay, we're getting these same controls over and over again, and we don't really like them. And you can blame it on whatever it is, cost or whatever. It doesn't really matter. The bottom line is, though, is that most people who are fighting game enthusiasts don't like those controls that they come with because they're too mushy. Me personally, I have found solutions that work for me. I mean, you know, you don't have to modify those as much. They have the metal plate, so they fit into the joystick holes much easier than the ILs do because you have to cut off the sides. So if you, on that IL that I'm holding in the video, you'll notice that the sides aren't cut off yet, but you have to cut the left side off basically. And the mag stick makes that easy. It's just that the mag stick has a shorter throw, so it's more dependent on what you want to use. But I like it to be somewhere kind of in between, which is why I use the IL sticks mainly. It's kind of a big pain to actually have to chop that plastic off. But with that being said, it also gives you the option to, use like screws that you can just drill holes and then mount it with screws through the top of the control panel. So it's just another option that I'm throwing out there, but it's a very solid feel, and it feels like you're actually playing on on a full size cab. Aside from the fact that visually what's in front of you isn't that size, the actual feel of what you're getting is a lot better. And that's just my experience, my opinion, but it definitely makes a huge difference. And it's not an expensive upgrade. I mean, you're talking $15 per IL stick. And then if you want to go a little bit more expensive, you go mag stick. That's about 40 to 50. And I think Sanwas are around 25 to 30. So it's a good upgrade, especially if you're into fighting games on the Arcade 1-Up platform, because it gives you that good feel.
So Matt Astra, he was saying in there that we need to add your audio. She was talking over it, but unfortunately one of my macros went haywire and it muted it, but that's why I got her back really quick on that. So you really didn't miss anything on that. I apologize for that, guys, in the chat room. I personally, I haven't changed out any of my sticks, mainly because I don't get too serious on these cabinets. I have kids coming over and I feel like, man, if I change them out and they start beating on them, I'm going to be like, no, don't do that. So I guess that's where I'm at with it, but I don't know. The guys in here, some of these guys are like hardcore, and I know a lot of them, and you even said with the new cabinet, you're going to change it out as soon with the Marvel vs. Capcom 2. You're changing it out before you even turn it on, right out of the box.
Yeah.
So I think there's a dynamic. Glenn, did you ever? I know you're not really a fighting guy, but did you ever change them out on any of your cabinets before they got destroyed in the flood?
Yeah, actually, I converted a lot of mine, believe it or not, to my patented GRS Tron base. It's a good stick.
Oh, nice.
So I did put that in there. I put them in the iiRcades. I put them in the arcade one. I have Tron sticks all over the place. But the big thing that I found on all of the...
I hope his computer didn't crash. Glenn phone home.
No.
Maybe his computer crashed.
Okay, well, I will say this.
Go ahead.
While you're trying to fix Glenn, I'll say this. The biggest thing that you're going to get, if you're worried about beating on it or anything like that, that's not a big deal because you can stick screws all the way through the top of the control panel and then just bolt them on the bottom. So those things aren't going to go anywhere. and I mean, they're built to beat up. But it's definitely something that enhances your experience. It's just, I feel like with the little sticks, when you're trying to do things, one, the gates are usually like the square gates, and I get that that's like normal these days, but back in the day in the arcade, if you're using ILs, you know, it's using the square block, but they're on switches, so it's a lot different. To me, it feels way different, and people want to upgrade to like octagonal gates, which is great, and I've done that. But if you want the actual feel of an arcade joystick when you're playing, like those upgrades are the way to go, I think. And for what you're paying, it's, you know, a negligible price to add on to the cabinet that you've already paid for. And I think it's worth it. If you're not hardcore, if you're not one of those people that literally grew up playing every fighting game in the arcade, all the Street Fighters, Killer Instinct, Tekken, all those things, then it's not going to be that big of a deal. So you may not notice it as much, or it may not make that much of a difference for you. But for me, it does. Like, for me, it makes it execute everything much better.
Bill, any thoughts?
You know, it's not something that I've done. I don't have any cabinets right now where I could really do that with them. We'll have to see what happens as I move on and get more of these over the next, you know, several months or the next year or so. I'll see how I feel about them. I'm not a big one for modding. I'd rather just play it as is for the most part, because especially with the fighting games, I'm not like heavy into them. I'd be more of a casual player. So we'll see. I mean, maybe down the road at some point I might dabble with that a little bit.
Now, earlier this week, I was checking out. Obviously, I'm subscribed to you guys, and I saw a video that you had posted. You've got like a huge tip for us. Why don't you kind of introduce that here before, and then let me know when you want me to roll it.
Okay. Yeah, this was kind of something interesting that I happened to find. It started with a tweet from a Twitter user called Unlisted Cheats, who said that they were, you know, basically looking into something in regards to Super Punch-Out, and just kind of stumbled upon this, you know, cheat code, or actually, you know, ability to get into the game to play against any fighter you want, and actually enable a two-player mode within Super Punch-Out. And to me, the really interesting thing is the fact that this has been there in the game for 28 years.
I think that's the funny part, right?
Yeah, yeah. That nobody has ever found that. Now, I mean, if you go back and you remember, you know, back in the days of the NES and the Super NES, when we had things like the Game Genie, not Michael B, the Game Genie, that would unlock cheats and hacks, or Action Replay. These were devices that you could put in your machine and then put the cartridge in, and you would put codes in, and it would unlock hacks or things even that the developers had in the games that were locked away that you couldn't get to. But this was never even enabled with those things, and yet it's been there this whole time.
I'm out of coffee.
She's out of coffee. Let's take a look.
Go ahead, roll it.
Let's take a look.
All right, here we are, Super Punch-Out on Nintendo Switch Online. And what you're going to do is you're going to let this little intro video play, or I guess you can press a button right to get to the start menu. And then once it comes up and you see where it says push start, you're going to hold Y plus R on the control panel 2. Then you're going to press A or start on control panel 1, and you'll be greeted with this menu. Alright, so from this menu you could pick any of the 16 available fighters and fight them in a one-on-one match. But of course, that's not the only benefit of this cheat code. So once you select the player you want and press A, you will go into their info screen. Now from this screen, what you want to do is hold the B plus Y button on the player 2 control pad, and then press A or start.
You discovered Well,
You're on in 3, 2. Oh, you're on now.
yeah, he's on.
I'm
He's on.
We're back.
He's on.
We're back. I actually thought that was going to go a little bit longer.
Yep, it was a 1:40 clip that you sent me, so that's what we played.
Okay. I thought I had sent you a little bit longer. Sorry about that.
It's all
None
good.
of us took our Metamucil today.
But yeah, so I mean, look, if you watch my video, I lay out all the steps for how to do it. So I'm not going to go over all of that now, but it's actually it's the fact that this thing has been in there that's pretty wild.
I think it's interesting because, like I said, I wonder how many people are out there right now trying it on Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, or even the version that came out after Mike Tyson lost after they lost the contract.
Was it Mr. Magnificent? What do they call him?
I forget what it was.
Wait, you said you need a Game Genie for this, right?
No, you don't.
You don't.
No, I was talking about the fact that they had devices called the Game Genie back in the day that you would plug into your Nintendo, and then the cartridge would plug into that. And
don't forget the Game Shark.
Putting codes.
No one thinks about the Game Shark.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. I actually did forget. I was thinking Game Genie, and I was thinking Action Replay. I forgot about Game Shark, but they all work the same, where you'd put in codes and it would unlock, cheats and secrets and whatever. And yet, this slipped by them too.
Glenn, to answer your question, they're saying Mr. Dream was the guy.
Mr. Dream.
Mr. Dream.
Thank you.
Yep.
That Alzheimer's, just get old.
Well,
you know what sucked about the Game Sharks though is you had to use hex. You had to edit the hex codes.
Yep.
And you'd be there just with your controller for hours.
But what's good about it, though, Jade, is you could discover your own codes. The Game Genie, you really couldn't discover the codes. But what's funny, the Game Shark is really Action Replay, which Bill said a second ago. The Action Replay was out long before it, and it kept coming back into the market. Came into the market. It wasn't until the PlayStation, I believe, that the Game Shark really took off because the Game Genie kind of stopped producing it. Galoob.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Galoob.
I always thought the Action Replay was like the Game Genie's Chinese cousin or something.
What's funny, it was actually the first one. It was actually out before Galoob.
I did not know
had more
that.
money. It was a bigger toy company and more of this. You know what companies have this? They squash the little guys. That's kind of what happens. Just saying.
Well, apparently that's happening right now in Nintendo. So
yeah,
we're about these lawsuits.
Lawsuits everywhere. So Jade wants to fill up her cup of coffee here. So we have a make or break question. So we're going to put this game up here in just a second to see what you guys think. Is this a game that makes or breaks the system?
Make or break.
This week's make or break is a special game, a game that came out over the holidays back in the day. Did it make or break the console that it's on? Glenn, this one goes out to you.
From Atari, made especially for systems from Atari, the video game that lets you help E.T. get home, just in time for Christmas. Happy holidays from Atari.
All right.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So we're all discussing this because we're trying to figure out, is this a make or is this a break? Glenn? Is this a make or break?
I know what you're doing here, Steven. I know what you want me to say.
No, I want you to say what you think, and then we'll.
I'm gonna tell you. Back in the day, I wasn't a fan, but I also wasn't a fan of Atari Pac-Man either. But with age and realizing that the poor guy had 6 weeks to manufacture, test, and get it boxed, the game has problems. It has glitches. There are, but it's definitely not the game that everyone says, including the angry video game nerd people say. That's what call it the gaming crash. It most certainly did not. If you read the book, it's not bad. Did it break the system? Oh God, this is such a tough one because it all happened in 80.
Come on, Glenn.
All right, I'm going to say no because if you're asking me, it's freaking Pac-Man
okay.
that destroyed it.
All right.
I'm going to say no. It did not. It did not.
Oh, you're shilling ET now.
All right, Jayde.
Oh my God.
Make or break.
Okay. Did you guys ever hear of the spruce? What was it? The spruce moose? Spruce goose?
Yes.
Spruce Goose, yeah.
Okay, yeah. It was like really epic and like big to look at, right? But then, it could never fly. So I kind of like think of ET as that. It was like really big and epic to look at. And I remember having it I still have it actually on my Atari 800. And I looked at the box art and I was like, oh, it's ET. I'm going to like sit on the bike with him and he's going to fly me to the moon. And it just, there was broken dreams. There was a lot of broken dreams with ET. So I'm going to have to say that, do I think it broke the system? No, but did it drag the system down a little bit? I would say, yeah. So probably break.
All right.
Maybe we should add a third one to that, Steven. It's broke, saved, or dragged. Maybe we should get dragged.
Well, maybe we might migrate this a little bit. Before we get to Bill, if you're in the chat room right now, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, and Kappa Jones, appreciate the follow on Twitch or on Facebook, leave it in the comments. Say make or break so we can look at what your response is. Bill, make or break?
This game was heartbreaking. That's for sure. I wanted it to be so good. It's such a fun movie, but it's just so god awful. It really is. It's just it's not even a fun game. I mean,
you don't mind falling in holes 500 times?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. He just dies every 30 seconds, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, I do. I feel now. I'm a programmer by trade. It's what I don't make video games or anything, but I feel bad for anybody who was stuck with having to do something like this in the 30 days or whatever it was that they got saddled into doing this. But yeah, ultimately it's got to be a break.
Yeah.
Have you guys played Chuck the Chuck Wagon on the Atari? I mean, or Kool-Aid Man? Trust me, E.T. is gold.
Well, no. Kool-Aid Man Kool-Aid Man was awesome. It was a free game,
It's true. If you're drinking of Kool-Aid, it was. But there were so many games that were so much worse. Really, I'm serious. There's over 1,000 games on the 2600, and some guy said, "Oh."
But Glenn, we're not talking about so many games. Okay, stop trying to protect ET with shit.
It's so cute though.
Yeah, because listen, all the other documentaries out there, they all state that this was the beginning of the end of Atari. Come on, you Atari fans. There's a lot of you in the chat room. Rexter, where are you at? A lot of you guys out there that are the old school.
That's why I'm defending ET, because
don't defend it.
Atari and so many things were it. ET became the poster child for it, but it doesn't deserve it. It doesn't. It's ET.
I'll be honest. At that age, I probably would have played anything. Like that was the first I had. My dad had the Intellivision, and he had the Atari, and I'm sure we had E.T. I know we had like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and all that.
Who the hell doesn't like falling in holes and trying to fly out and fall back in the hole for like half an hour? Who doesn't enjoy that?
I'm
Italian. I'm Italian. We put people in holes all the time.
Wait, did any of you guys ever play
Yeah, but they're not
USA?
supposed to get out, Glenn. They're not
true.
supposed to get out.
Did any of you guys ever play Agent USA?
Agent USA. I can't say I have. No.
It's not ringing a bell.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Well, anyways, like you're basically this little spy and he walks around and you just see his little legs moving around wherever he goes and it's like a hat. And there's a train station and I used to always try and get into the train station and get on the train when I wasn't supposed to because it was one of those games where it had like that little glitch and I just figured this out on my own as a kid. And so that was like my mission objective. And it was like not a very good game. It wasn't very good, but for some reason I was obsessed with it. So I don't blame you for loving ET.
So Glenn,
what I liked about the 2600 was you would like turn it on and off really quick, and you'd make the machine glitch, And sometimes you get some cool new features when you like glitch it, like in Space Invaders. If you glitch it, you get double shots.
Glenn,
Things like that.
Read
Yeah.
Rexer's comment there.
I know, and I love Rexy, man.
No, I'm just saying it was bad. He's right. He's right.
That bad. He's helping me here, and I'm agreeing with him.
Uh,
Going on the whole, was
Bonafide Picker says E.T. Go home. Really get out of my 2600. So you got both sides of the coin here.
Programming is so bad. ET just wanted to get out of the game.
Stephen, on purpose. You wanted to cause an argument.
Listen,
on the show. You caused.
Listen, I'm going to be fair here, just for everybody watching. I did it for Glenn, but the two that it came down to, because I know Bill's got one for next week. He did it for next week, so we're going to play that one for next week. His is a good one too. I was tossed between Cyberpunk or ET. Now, don't comment because it could make its way in the next couple weeks, but it was a toss between those two. And I know Cyberpunk's a newer one, so I was kind of like, I'll hold off on that one.
Cyberpunk on PS4 or Cyberpunk on PS5?
Well, that's why. We can get into that discussion when I do it. But for now, okay. So a lot of the consensus is it's a break for Atari. Sorry, Atari lovers. Sorry, Glenn.
No, he's just misunderstood.
So let's do this really quick. Believe it or not, there's been some AtGames news this week, and I want to get the panelists' opinion as well as you guys, the chat room. We're going to do it.
AtGames news and notes.
So this week, AtGames surprised the pants off of everybody, and they announced that they had now gotten a partnership with Dr. Seuss, and they are, I know it almost sounded comical, that they are going to produce Dr. Seuss tables for the AtGames Legends Pinball, and those of you that have the AtGames products with the pinball capabilities are going to be able to run it on your tables or on your devices. And from what I'm hearing is that they're not just going to be the flat base, they're kind of doing them more like Zen style, if you will. They're going to have like a lot of moving 3D items on it. What do you guys think of that? Because they're not traditional tables. Dr. Seuss. Let's start with Bill here. What's your take on this?
Well, I think this is going to go two ways for them. I think there are going to be people who aren't going to care, just like you said, because they're not traditional tables, because people want to play, the pinball tables they know and remember on their AtGames. But ultimately, I actually think it's a great move. I think a lot of people, if you're older, you're going to have nostalgia for Dr. Seuss. If you've got kids, it's a great intro to pinball for them, I think, for sure. So, I mean, it's going to depend on how they ultimately come out and how they look. But ultimately, yeah, I think it's a great deal. I think it's something that to look forward to.
Jade, what do you think about it?
But these machines never existed before, right?
Correct.
Like this is a new thing. So, I mean, to me, I don't know. I kind of think it's like, why, like, what are they expecting to get out of it? I don't think that they're going to get like a huge response, I feel like, because like, I mean, we already have other pinball machines to choose from, and usually people, especially in this kind of community, which if you're getting a pinball machine, you probably know a thing or two or a little bit about like pinball machines in the past, so I don't know like what the likelihood of somebody being like, oh, look, everybody, it's a Dr. Seuss pinball machine. Let's get it.
Glenn, what's your take on it?
As long as it's got some green eggs and ham in there and some Horton Who, I'm in.
I think it's also going to have the Grinch on it, and so the argument that's come up, I've seen it in the chat room here, but also like what you're saying, Jade. I think the argument that comes up is, they're not real tables, but let's not forget Arcade 1-Up did that with Marvel and Star Wars. They're not real tables.
I don't think it's about them not being real tables. I think it's about like the notoriety of what you're buying. If you're buying something that no one is familiar with, that's a Farscape from a Street Fighter cab that doesn't look like a Street Fighter cab exactly, but it plays Street Fighter like Street Fighter.
No, I get it.
But that's why I think that this is going to be for people with kids who maybe, they're trying to get their kids interested in pinball.
Yeah.
Essentially, kind of like the baby cage with their arcade.
Yeah, I think it's going to be niche. And I seen that we had a super chat in here. Whoops, hang on, let me trigger that up there. We appreciate that, Ezekiel, for coming in here. But there's some other good comments here.
You're never late. As long as you're watching the show live, you're not late.
Meatball Saucy, Hollywood Polo says that it's like Meatball Saucy says, it looks, sounds, and plays good. They're golden. And I listen, I'm not going to lie. I'm interested in playing them. I mean, there's a lot of games on the AtGames pinball table that I've never played in real life, but
the Space Invaders
they're
one,
fun.
Right? That wasn't a real table, but it was really fun.
Bubble
And
Bobble's fun on it.
The Leprechaun one, whatever
Yep.
one that was called.
Leprechaun King. Yep.
That Leprechaun King. That was really fun.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a real one either. So, but Jayde has a valid point. If you don't have the name to draw you in to purchase it, I get it. But sometimes, you get a couple reviews out there and people say, oh, it looks pretty fun, and that's how you build it. So there's a chance.
I think
And it's
cost is going to play a role.
Doing something. Yay.
So you're
I mean, it might
saying
be
there's
fun
a
to
chance.
play.
Yeah, say it.
Well,
It might be fun to play, but I just mean I guess it's like like if I had one in front of me and I played it, I might be like, oh, that's cool, or oh, that's cute, but I might not. I probably won't buy it.
But you're not going to go out and buy
99%.
the pinball machine just for those tables, is what you're saying, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, no, I think we can all agree. They're not going to draw you in to buy one of these for the
Zohar.
first. But but Zohar will buy it and then sell it and then buy it and then sell it.
That seems to be a common trend with him, isn't it? No, I think it's interesting. I think they're making strides. What I like about it, and this is what I'm going to say, and I think the chat room and maybe all you guys will agree with me, they're getting IPs that nobody else has, which then gives you variety if you have the multiple machines. So you're not getting the same game on 3 different companies' machine. Like, you're actually getting some type of variety, and I think that's what I like about it more so than anything.
But is it they're getting IPs that no one else has, or is it getting IPs no one else wants?
Well, that's up to you to decide. You figure that one out. We pay you the big bucks to do that.
Oh man, I can't figure it out. My brain hurts.
Marketing.
Well, no, you make a good point though too. Is it because every other company has the Stern and some of these other ones? Do they have all the good IPs tied up? That's a very valid point.
Well, we know of one that has a lot of good IPs.
Yeah. And Zero Hero agrees with Jayde, so I'm gonna put that comment up. And he agrees with you. Wagner's Tech Talk says, I think it's a great move, honestly. Kids and adults could relate to the game. It's not something you can play on FX3, VPX, or future pinball. Unique content, in his honest opinion.
Yeah, there's something for everyone, I suppose. And again, you know, when people bought the Legends Ultimate, it had 300 some odd games on there, and oh, they have Atari games on there, or they have ColecoVision games on there, and then you start saying, oh, these games are actually pretty fun. So, there's always a possibility that someone out there will enjoy it. And you know what? It's still creating new content, and you never know. Maybe something will go.
Listen,
but Jayde has a totally valid point as well. It's not something going to run out and purchase a $500 cabinet for.
Listen, Glenn.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's probably not going to be as appealing to everyone. That would be my first thought. But I'm not saying that that's entirely true either, because I mean there are people in the chat who are saying they'll play it or they might get it, and it does give that variety, through AtGames that you may not get through other companies. So it's not a bad thing.
So Glenn, are you saying 64th Street is not a fun game on the AtGames?
No, it's actually not
I'm kidding. I'm busting your chops.
It's not horrible.
What was the other?
There are a couple of buds on there, though. I will say.
What was the other game that we played that we did over the internet? It was a fighting game. I kicked your butt.
I thought we did. Did we do Turtles? I thought we did.
We did do Turtles, but we also did.
I remember you guys doing.
Was it King of Fighters?
Was it King with me? Yeah. You
oh,
play
was
those
King?
games, just wipe the floor with me every time.
Yeah, I wiped the floor with him. I actually felt bad for him on that one.
I think your son played me too. I think your son even beat
me. Yeah. I wouldn't admit that on the stream, but sure.
Yeah, and I'm not a fighter guy. I'm not. Give me some asteroid space invaders, then we'll talk.
It's all good. It's all good. Let's go and take a look here at iiRcade. iiRcade also said, oh, hold on. We also have some news.
iiRcade. News and notes.
I guess the news is in the dark.
Yeah, it was in the dark. They were keeping you in the dark all this week. And that was because of the gentleman that's now working for the company.
I think today's Friday the 13th, dude. I think today's Friday the 13th.
I'm telling you what, with you having those issues with that, let me pull this up really quick, because what do you guys think? Because I'm all out of order now because of Mr. Glenn. He's like, oh, let's do this last. Okay.
I said first, and you.
No.
Oh boy.
Former Apple and Disney senior executive Patrick Fitzgerald joins iiRcade team as an advisor. Glenn, with you now partnering with iiRcade, what do you think that this is going to bring to the iiRcade platform, or what are you hoping that this brings to the iiRcade platform?
Honestly, the iiRcade's got some really good hardware. It's a good cabinet. It just needs more IPs, more content, and more diverse content. So, take it for what it is, right?
So, is there inside scoop, Glenn, that they're going to be making a Mickey Mouse shaped iiRcade?
Hey,
I actually hope it's more Daffy Duck. I'd rather have a Daffy type of cabinet than. Hi everyone, I'm gonna tickle your money.
They're making a Shinku Mouse edition. That's what I heard.
Hey, don't knock it.
DuckTales cabinet wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, maybe. Right. Maybe.
There's always got Kylo Ren on there, man. I'll burn that thing.
So I agree with you. I think that's the biggest letdown that I have right now with iiRcade is like, and I'm probably going to get shot for this by the community, but that's fine. I am more with the iiRcade. I got that with the intentions of getting the newer games. I was hoping for the newer arcade titles that could run on that hardware. And I know, Jayde, you're not a fan of Beach Buggy Racing, but let me tell you, that is the game that is number one played on that machine.
I'm telling you, that girl cheats.
When people come over.
I think the iiRcade is a really cool looking machine, though. Like, the design is really nice. It's a very clean cut looking machine. I like, the speaker panels and the monitor. Like, I think it's a cool looking machine. It's just, and it's got good hardware. It's just the lineup.
And I'm right there with you. The best game that everybody should own, and that's because me, Glenn, and Doug are in that game, is Retromania. You really should own that.
Oh, it is, and I suck at that.
That's
I
a
haven't
game.
found this yet. I haven't played far enough to get.
Really?
No, I suck, man. I'm just horrible.
I'm kidding though, but it is a good cabinet for Retromania. It does remind me of the old Retro the Wrestle.
There are some good
Fest
games, but again, they need more, and they know it. And I will say they are working on it. So stay tuned for that. They're not sitting around. They are working on content. So fourth quarter should be pretty bright.
Well, it'll be interesting to say the least. I hope so. Donut Dodo. Somebody put that here in the chat room. Yes.
Love that game.
That game is good.
But you can't play it on other platforms. It's not like an exclusive
right
to iiRcade. That's the thing. But it is a great game.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to Donut Dodo. If you haven't played it, Jayde, you'd probably even like it. I'm thinking.
Oh, she's always Donkey Kong. Not.
Somebody made a video on it. God, was it CT Jason or Brad? I don't know, but I saw it and I was like, oh, that kind of looks fun.
It is. It's a fun game. But like Glenn said, it's not exclusive. And that, like, I have been on the fence, and let's get into this a little bit really quick. I've been on the fence about getting a Steam Deck, and I'm like, why? So I can buy the same games that I can buy on any other system on Steam and play it on a portable that I'll probably play for the first week, and then it's going to sit and collect dust for the next.
Hey, your son and your wife will take it. You're fine.
3 months. I have a Switch. I have a Switch OLED, so I'm kind of like, I don't want it to be FOMO. So I started thinking about it. Then I started talking to Jayde, and she's like, "Oh, I think you should get an MVSX." And I'm like, I kind of reviewed that with like Glenn and some of the others before it came out. And she's like, "No, it's a lot better now." And here I am contemplating buying MVSX, and I have no more room. So I'm sitting here going, okay, so which one of my cabinets is going to go? And I think NBA Jam is on the chopping block, because I don't know about you guys in the chat room, but that game collects more dust in my arcade than any other game. Nobody plays it.
The dust got to go somewhere.
It has to go somewhere, and it's all Jayde's fault. Normally I blame Glenn, but I'm blaming you tonight. It's all your fault.
Sorry. The MVSX is a really nice little system. I mean, it's like a package deal. You know, you're getting everything there, and you don't feel like you have to do anything to it when you get it, except for I felt like I had to get a riser. But I mean,
can you change the sticks in it? Can you change the sticks in it? Somebody said after they came out, well, the version we reviewed, it was still loose, but somebody said they soldered them. Is that true? Like you can't change them?
I haven't looked inside to see.
Okay.
So I can't say for sure. But if you're talking like soldered to the control panel board, or
that's
like the wires are soldered?
That's what somebody was telling me, and I was like, mine wasn't. Like Glenn, the one we reviewed was not soldered when we opened it.
No.
I haven't seen
We were
that.
supposed to open it. What are you talking about? We didn't open it.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. No, we were told strictly not to open it. We did anyway.
Because I watched a lot of videos on the version 2 before I actually pulled the trigger on it, because I wanted to see if like there was anything that was gonna be like detrimentally annoying, like the screen or something like that. And I watched some teardown videos, and I don't remember seeing anything where it mentioned that it was being soldered on there.
Okay. Well, if I buy it, I'm gonna have to tear it open and take a look. And Bobby, I had his.
You're missing out if you don't.
I know. I'm gonna have to do it, because they just sent us the bar top originally. We didn't get the bottom stand. Right. I think they were still in the process of making it. Because I want to get into riser, no riser, whatever. But Bobby says in the chat room, he said, "Hey, TechBuzz, you hit the nail on the head with the problem with the iiRcade. It is a console, and I know Jayde, you've said that before. There's no exclusives. Every game console is sold on it's exclusive games, and I tend to agree with it. Like, I think Jong needs to pull a rabbit out of his hat and do something that's exclusive only on iiRcade, and I think more people would jump on board. That's my 2 cents on it. What about you, Bill? You just ordered the Gold Series.
Mm-hmm.
If the FOMO got to you, the FOMO is real.
You know, I took a look at that Space Invaders and I said, that is just a pretty cab. I have to have it. So yeah, I ordered mine a little late in the process, so I expect mine to be in that second batch of ones coming over. So I probably won't see mine till either the end of this month or early September. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting it, and I know I've already been looking at a bunch of games that I want. And I'm like, I know a lot of people talk about wanting to play the modern games on it. I'm an old school guy. I can't wait to play some of the older games. And yeah, I mean, I know, you can play them on other platforms, but you could say that about a lot of things. So I'm looking forward to playing. Although, again, Donut Dodo's probably going to be an early purchase on that, because I've heard so many good things about it.
And if you talk to Jayde and I enough, you will probably end up buying an MVSX. So you might as well start putting like $600 away, because that's what's going to happen.
And I need to put about $6,000 away for the ones that I want. All right, so, but that's on the list. I've been keeping an eye on it for a while.
Anyways, so that's been kind of what's been on the plate here. Jayde, you also, let's talk a little bit about real arcades here, real quick. Okay. You're in the front. You are on a kick right now of buying some real arcades. You've got 2 of them that are potential, right? No. No.
Yeah. No. I'm looking at 2 right now. So there's an HS5. There's an HS5 Dynamo with it's basically a Marvel vs. Capcom with the Marvel superheroes versus Street Fighter board in it, and then. The seller is being so weird, though. Like, he'll respond to my messages, and then when I'm like, okay, I want to come out and look at it and then pick it up, and then he just won't respond. And then I'll be like, are you going to be available? And then he'll be like, I have some people coming to look at it. And I'll be like, okay, can I come out? And then he won't respond. And I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? And the other guy, he wants $350 for a Konami conversion cab, which was converted from 4 players to 2 players, and to play Mortal Kombat on. And the monitor in it is there, but he says it doesn't power on. And I'm like, okay. The overall package is there, though, so I'm like, this could be a really good build. It's just, it would take me a lot longer, whereas the Marvel vs. Capcom would be a more simple, clean it up and then put new buttons and joysticks in it, and I'm good to go. Well, and then get a Naomi, because I really want to get Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Naomi.
So what's happening here is, I'm living vicariously through all these guys that are getting these real arcades, because I just can't. There's no way I'm going to get them down the stairs and through and into here. And I know a lot of you guys that suggested I sell my 1-ups to fit in here. Trust me when I say it just wouldn't fit. Donkey Kong, I think Jayde said, would probably be the only one that I could probably get height-wise.
Anyone who gets one, you find a way. You find a way for Donkey Kong.
Find a way, yeah.
I don't want it to sit in my garage because we get too much humidity here, and I like putting my truck away. So I don't
have
know.
any more room. This would be like the last full-sized arcade I would ever be getting, and I have actually sold 1-ups before to move other ones in place, but they were like Gen 1, so it's kind of like taking out the trash.
Oh, ouch!
Oh,
Wow!
Ouch, that hurt.
Oh, man. Brutal. Are you sure we don't got Rex on the show here? Where's he at? Ouch. Okay. Glenn, I think it's time.
Oh, well, before we get into that, one thing
he's going to drag it.
I am. No. The Buy Stuff store, they're now selling these here. These are the Yoke and Wheel Gaming Box. I know P-Dub's also got one as well. So this is a little Android box with software pre-installed, set up already for my Star Wars yoke and driving games. And I'll get a video on it. I've been testing it for a while, and it's pretty cool. You just basically plug this thing in, turn on your TV set, the games come up, put in your GRS yoke, and you have driving games. You have flying games, not fighting games, but flying games. And it's really, really nice. And I'm not quite sure what they're selling it for, but they package it really, really well. I just wanted to talk about it real quick. The yoke and gaming box from the Buy Stuff store.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have the link for that, so I couldn't pull it up for you guys. But
yeah, I know. When I went on their site, I didn't see it. I know it's brand new. I'm not sure if they're actually selling it yet. They actually, I think, just finished the software on it. And
that's
before we get
Android.
into anything else, before we get into it is Android.
That's Android based, right? That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
No, actually, if you don't put the card in, it comes with a remote control. It's a really good streaming box. So you get the double duty. He said duty.
Oh,
but
here we go.
put the card in, you got the games, you pull it out, you got double duty, and you can play, streaming stuff and other things. So I want to mention that I know that Bill and myself will be at the Long Island Gaming Expo tomorrow. Rexer. Dun, 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 dun. So guys, if you're there, we'll be there. Come say hi. I'll be actually spending some time at the Classic Gamers booth. I was invited to share the booth with them to, talk about some weird thing I've been working on for a while.
Oh, your buddy John Riggs will be there.
Yeah, I'm meeting up with John Riggs for sure. I already talked to him. He's very happy. He actually had a bagel, a New York bagel, and now we can never have a bagel anywhere else.
Oh, he's spoiled now.
Pat's going to be there.
He's done.
Pat's going to be there. Pat will probably run from me because he was there.
I would run from you. And I do the show with you, and I would run from you.
I'm like, Pat, let's talk for a little while. I was like, was running. So,
Stone Age gamers, those guys are really cool.
Yep. So it's good. I think it's gonna be really, really good. I'm supposed to be there right now, but I said, you know what? I'd rather be with you guys today. I'm going tomorrow. I could potentially go on Sunday, but most likely I will be doing something else. But I'll be there tomorrow, and I hope I'll see you guys there. Some people said they will be going. And that's what I wanted to talk about, really, I think, right? That was it.
Right? Wait, can I answer Rexer's question?
Sure.
Of course.
Or not, it's not a question, but can you bring it back up?
Is that the comment that he had? I did.
Yeah,
serious.
Gen 1s were the greatest.
He's being sarcastic.
So, I know. But I don't think, like, when Gen 1s first came out, it was like they were not that expensive. I think it was like,
Right.
$199,
$299.
$299 respectively.
Well,
And they were
$250.
all designed the same way. So
Yes.
at least I personally wasn't buying those and thinking like, oh my God, this is like just perfect. I just thought they were cute and I was like, this will be fun to play with. And then when they started, so I didn't take it seriously, I guess you could say. And I had like a Street Fighter, and then I got the Space Invaders because it was like $150 with Battlefront 2. But
Nice.
I mean, they all had that same exact shell, just with different artwork on them. And, the monitors were garbage, but they were just fun to play with. I don't think they were like great by any means. I think that the evolution of what we're getting now, which is like a totally normal but kind of annoying thing about, the digital or technical infrastructure of our society, has gotten much better. And for me, I know not you, Rexer. I know you're probably like throwing like a milkshake at your screen right now while my face is on there. But for me personally, I think that they've like improved greatly. So like I will do that from time to time though, like just swap it out with one that I don't particularly favor anymore because of the quality of upgrade,
Can I just say this though? Since you just crapped on 90% of my arcade one-ups, since they're all Gen 1s. My Gen 1s, I've had less problems with my Gen 1s than I've done with Gen 2 or Gen 3s.
I would totally agree with you on that one as well.
100% as far as aesthetics go, I would agree with you. They don't look like, what you got today. But honestly, knock on wood, I've only had one PCB go bad on it, and I kind of knew it was going to happen. And I should have taken it back day one, but, it's how we all are, right? We just want to put it together and didn't want to go through it, and it was working, and it died on me. I had more of the other ones go bad. That's just my take. I don't know about the chat room if you guys can agree with that, but I don't know if I would say that the newer ones are more reliable. I haven't had the newer ones long enough, but in my ratio of 18 cabinets, at least 3 to 4 of my new ones had problems. Whereas
I don't know if they're more reliable.
Mhm.
The only problems that I've had was my Tron spinner went out, but they
that's
sent
Glen's
me another
fault.
one, and my Dragon's Lair came with a busted speaker, but they sent me a replacement for it. But with all my other cabs, I've never had like any issues with the screens or with the and I'm talking about like the newer gen, so Gen 3 and beyond. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a subjective experience, but you obviously have a lot of Gen 1 to prove that too. So I mean,
and the monitors are crap in Gen 1. I'm not going to lie, but nobody ever said anything about that. Rexer's right about that point.
You had very, very sneaky. You could have helped you, fix them a little bit.
Yeah, you could add a little device to it where you can adjust
to make it darker. It still didn't do a lot, but
nobody's ever complained about them here, and for what I did with them, they're fine. A lot of them I got for like $200, $250. I'm like, what? Like you said, this is cool. It was pulled on my nostalgic strings, whatever.
I got 2 Space Invaders for $75, and that's a deal.
So you can mod it, yeah. All right, we got to get to your announcement here because you've been kind of hinting at it above your shoulder there.
Yes. So, last week, a couple people said, was that a teaser last week with Donkey Kong over there? So it was. So me and Gary, who's one of the guys who are working on my team, I commissioned him and said, listen, let's just try and make a 3D printed, 1/6 scale cabinet. That was a Donkey Kong for us. But then I started thinking about it. I said, this would really make a good addition to the line. And actually, I think it would be a good one with New Wave Toys, because New Wave Toys has the, the actual arcade accurate ones. But there's no like multi-cades, and everyone loves 1/6 scale multi-cades. So that's what's in the picture here, and this will be at the gaming expo tomorrow at the gaming booth gaming magazine booth I'll be staying at tomorrow. And one of the key features we have here is, again, I'm very big on the control structure. So
can I pull up the page? Can I pull up the page?
You can pull up the page.
Pull the page. Okay, I just want to make
so
sure.
There it is. So we're going to start pre-order soon on this. Now this will be a build-it-yourself kit. We're shooting for around $100. Again, supply chain issues may raise it a little bit. We were trying to actually get it under 100. But it's a 1/6 scale. You build it yourself. It comes with pretty much everything you need, now minus the Raspberry Pi. Now, I want to talk about that for a second, because Raspberry Pi, as Bill was talking before, a Raspberry Pi Zero can send you back $80. A Raspberry Pi 4 can send you back $200. So, the whole thing with GRS is two things: arcade quality without the arcade price, and quality, right? So if we have to throw a Pi in here, it's really going to probably kill this. So if Pi prices stay high, we've actually been talking to a couple of single board computer manufacturers, and we think we can have a custom one built for us, if necessary. So that would raise, obviously, the price. It couldn't be $100 at that point if we include the computer, maybe another $20 or $30 more, but it's still better than going, like Bill would say, a $200 Raspberry Pi, and it will still run RetroPie. We include the SD card, and the SD card will have a little loader on there, which will help you guys load the image. It'll be pretty much pre-configured. You can use the Raspberry Pi 3, obviously, if you want to, or Raspberry Pi 4. They were designed for this, but the kit is like a little erector set. So you put it together. The marquee does light up. Also, Joe
Wait,
Sabo.
Glenn, you're going to have to explain to some people what erector sets are, because
Legos? Everyone knows what Legos is then, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be like a Lego set. So it'll probably take
made out
you,
of metal.
if you took your time, it would probably take you an hour. If you rushed, it would go quicker. The decals we have on the side are very strong. You can actually take them off and put them back on if necessary. Joe Sabo is partnering with us on this to make, if you wanted a special, like a Street Fighter cabinet design or a Star Wars design or something along the lines, that's something he can do. And again, the machine is designed to be a little bit modular. So see if you want to come back to me just for a second.
Yep.
So, you'll get, little controls like this, a little joystick, and we're going to offer, 6-button as well, for fighting. Pretty much comes with it. But people love Robotron. People like Battlezone. People like Crazy Climber. I know I do. So we're also going to offer an interchangeable dual joystick. All right, and it's a metal shaft, so we have little dual joysticks on there.
The level of detail is wild.
Thank you, my dear. And then, of course, you need a nice trackball, so we have a nice, high-quality GRS-style optical trackball for your millipede games and so forth, and buttons. Right?
That is insane. That's so
and
cool.
then, of course, you have to have a GRS Hall effect, not a regular spinner. This is a Hall effect spinner. And, of course, if you have a Hall effect spinner, you're going to want some driving games, right? So we have a little GRS steering wheel.
So do you
That's
have like
awesome.
a factory of gnomes that are building these?
Not quite. But I'll show you real quick. Let me just pull
He,
something up here.
he contracted out to the Keebler elves.
A little bit. So here's a quick little gameplay with the spinner, and I believe we have Star Trek, the arcade game, which I love that game. It's a vector game by Sega.
So Glenn, just
And,
before you go any further, to say these are about the same size as the other miniature arcades that
We designed this specifically to be comparable to the New Wave toys.
that's what I was just going to say. For those that wanting to know the size, it's about the size of a New Wave toys.
Yep, it absolutely
Arcade.
is. It was designed on purpose, so when you have your New Wave toys collection, you can put one of these mini-cades there, custom to the one that you built. Just like you have your arcade one-ups, you can build one your own, or you have a real arcade machine, you can have a multi-cade in there. It is 1/6 scale. We made sure it has a good cooling fan in there to keep it cool, but this is, that's the spinner going there. And then, of course, we turn that off here. We also have one of my classic old favorite games was Sega's Turbo.
How easy is it to swap?
Oh, wow.
This is, first of all, this is a early prototype, which is why it's white. This one's actually a very early one. It's not too difficult. Right now, the way we designed it, there are screws in the back, and the screws are going to go into brass grommets. So it will not strip out the plastic. So you can put the screws in and take them out as many times as you want. And you know what? We are going to make a 6-foot riser for it. Yes. So you can put it next to it. We take out the screws in the back, and there's a center channel. You pull that channel out, and you can then spread the front part and change out the panels. They're all USB connected. So take maybe 2 or 3 minutes to swap out those control panels. But again, at $100, maybe you buy one of each. So you don't have to change the control panels. Not to push more product on you, but something you could do. What else?
So
what
now
else?
your announcement mentioned HDMI out if you're running this on a Pi 3. So could you then hook this up and just play it on your TV?
Correct. So one of the other things I'm big on is, again, controls. So you can still buy this and play it in a miniature form, but to really enjoy the games, you want to play it on a full-size TV with full-size controls. So fortunately, I just so happen to have full-size controls. So you'll be able to connect a GRS Tron, a GRS Star Wars yoke, a GRS optical version 3 or version 2 trackball, Hall effect spinners. Akari Warriors joysticks, other things we're working on, light guns, and connect it to the back and play this on your full-size TV. So you can not only have a mini-cade, but this is your console. That was the whole point of this. I want to make a console that also looks wonderful on the shelf. It can fit in with your other collection of like New Wave toys. And most of all, have the right type of controls. The screen is going to be gorgeous. This is not going to be.
It's not BOE.
No, it's going to be better. This screen is an IPS screen, a good refresh rate, and you can see that 32 megabyte SD card is included with an OS installer on there. If you're looking for a special custom artwork, Joe Sabo Arcades will have that in there. 2 USB ports available on the back. We originally designed it with the Raspberry Pi 3A, which was a single port. You could put a hub on the inside. Stereo speakers. We've been doing testing on the battery life. We're getting like 2 to 3 hours easily out of the battery pack that we have in there. Again, we really want, the whole point of my team is to make sure that when you guys get something, you're getting your money's worth out of it. It's fun, it's easy, but most of all, it's strong and it lasts.
Meatball Saucy's upset because you didn't put a projector in it.
Well, if anyone knows me, long before Arcade 1-Up took that idea from me as well, GRS has put projectors in Coleco Pac-Man machines, and I also did the one for the Legends Connect board. So, who says we're not? But this is just
I have a question.
generation 1. This
Glenn.
is generation 1 people. Yes.
Okay, so with the Raspberry Pi 4, and I genuinely don't know because I've only played up to Raspberry Pi 3 or played on up to. But can you play like AM2 games on there? Can you play like Virtua Fighter or anything like that? Because I know that those can play like Marvel vs. Capcom too.
You know what? I don't know how well it works on those. Raspberry Pi 4 can also be overclocked. I do have a Raspberry Pi 4, but to be quite honest, it's so power hungry. I pretty much stuck with Raspberry Pi 3s, 2s, and 0s. But I will say that a 4 might be capable to do that. And Angel, don't you worry about it, but I'll take care of you. Don't you worry. But it's something we can absolutely test because we do want fighting games to work in there, like Neo Geo games should work fine with the right controller panel on there. But the main thing is this thing here. I can't say you can use 4 of these as bedposts, but the plastic we're using on here is strong. The decals can be removed, and I hope that if you do collect New Wave toys, you can add it to your collection as well. This is not meant in any way, shape, or form to compete with New Wave toys. It's really to complement Shiloh and his products. That's it. If you want to see it and you're in Long Island Gaming Expo, it will be there for you guys to have a look at.
Is it only a vertical screen?
And this, again, I don't want to say too many things because there's other companies out there that will borrow ideas, shall we say. So I will say that this is our Generation 1 cabinet. And Generation 1 means there's more generations to come, more things to come.
Cool.
Boom! That's it, people.
I want one.
Yeah, that'll look cool next to the 1944.
Well, see, Jade, I think you and Steven have so many cabinets. This is the only way you're going to get more cabinets.
I know we're not going to be able to.
I'll sell one of my 1-Up cabs and just put it in its place.
So for those that don't know, also, if you're not a subscriber and we pay for this is not something that's given. Check this out, Old School Gamer Magazine. I actually get the physical copies. I have a magazine rack over here with Nintendo Power Game Pros from the 90s. This is a cool magazine, and it's actually got an article in here with the GRS stuff right there. Wham!
With my partner, iiRcade.
iiRcade.
That's correct. Yep.
So if you guys are into, they do cover some home arcade stuff in here. So you will find like AtGames, iiRcade. You'll find Arcade 1-Up. But it does a lot of the retro stuff that you can get. So really cool magazines.
Quick,
it's by
you can go to their website. You can go to the website and you can actually view free versions. It has maybe 70% of the articles there. But you can go on totally free. But I also have a subscription for it as well. It's definitely worth it. It's a good quality magazine. But if you just want to check it out, you can do it for free. You can look at the back issues in there as well. But it's a really good magazine, a good bunch of people running this. And I will be in their booth tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m., I believe they start.
So guys, go check that out. And I'm going to do one other plug. And then we're going to wrap this up. Because Super Game Room dudes are on, and I know everybody wants to go over there. if you're interested and you want to support what we're doing here, I have put together, and I forgot to talk about it last week, and that was my fault, but I don't do a lot of self-promotion, so that's kind of my fault. But right now, if you want to take advantage of it for $20, well, everything's on sale now for up to 35% off. $20, you can get the new Game Time t-shirt, which has the Game Time logo on the front, and then it has all of our respective logos on the back. Glenn wanted his to be the largest on the back, and it just didn't look right proportionately. So
I thought it looked right.
I just put everything in line. So
I actually thought mine was going to be in the center, and you guys would be like satellites around me.
So what I want to do is, because obviously we don't ask for super chats, I don't do any of that stuff. Any money, any proceeds that we make toward this, we want to get additional gear. Maybe we'll use it toward a giveaway where maybe if we sell enough shirts, we'll take that money and we'll buy one of those arcades from Glenn so we can use it as a giveaway on the stream here. None of that money's going in the pockets here. I have a job. I pay my bills that way. So if you want to show some support for the stream, I'm actually wearing. I bought my own, and I've been repping it here.
So pretty.
Yeah. So you guys can. Let me see if I can get the back camera so you can kind of see. There you go. You can see the logos up there. They're pretty big on the back shoulder. So if you guys are interested,
are you plugged into the Matrix? What was that thing going? What was that?
What's that? Wait, what?
Are you plugged into the Matrix? You've got like a little thing going back into your neck back there.
Oh, this is my headset. Over my over the ears.
It doesn't look like it though, doesn't it?
That's what the agents told you.
It's so the producer can tell me what to say. But you guys can get any colors that you want of the shirts. I made it so that you can do that. I like the black. I'm a big black T-shirt guy. So you can come in here and change the color if you want blue. If you like blue or if you like orange, Glenn likes orange. So you can do all that and have some fun with it. But you guys can go check it out. Just go to thetechbuzz.net/store. That's how I have it set up. It'll redirect. But that's probably the easiest way that I can get you guys there. If you buy, do we get a discount if we buy all four? Buy all four what? Because right now they're doing a special. They have it set up for $20. It's normally $26 plus shipping and all that good stuff. So I don't know if they give you a discount too if you sign up. I don't know. Take the red pill. Was that a Men in Black? Was that Men in Black that did that?
No, it was Matrix.
No, was that Matrix? Okay. I know the oh, that's right. Men in Black, they did the zapper. All right. Time for us to head on out of here. Jayde, anything coming up on your channel this week that people should be paying attention to?
I have some stuff that I'm working on. I don't know if it's going to be out this week, but just keep your eye out because I might randomly just get enough time to put something out there. So check my channel out if you haven't.
YouTube.com/Shelion Gaming. Guys, go over there, subscribe. Really appreciate if you guys would do that. Bill, what's coming down the pipe on your channel?
Same. I was on vacation this week, so I spent a lot of time shooting some content, just waiting to get some time to edit some things. So I got a few different things coming up. Like Glenn said, I will be at the Long Island Expo tomorrow as well. I'm not at a booth or anything. I'm just going to be walking around. So if you see me, come say hi. I don't know what their mask policy is, so I may or may not be wearing one. We'll see. I don't know. But definitely come. What?
Look for the guy with the glasses.
Yeah. So, if you see me, definitely come say hi. And I'll probably be taking some pictures and shooting some video while I'm there, so I'll probably put something together based on that as well.
Awesome. We'll look forward to that because maybe we can show some of that next week. Yep. YouTube.com/Bill's Retro Gaming Show. You guys can go subscribe, hit that like button. We'd really appreciate that. And also this guy here, Mr. Glen Planamento, YouTube.com/GPlanamento. Do you got anything coming down the pipe? I know you've been kind of busy and sick and everything like that. So.
Yeah, I have, like I said, the Yoke and Wheel Gaming Box. I have to get a video on for the Bicep Store. After the show, I will do a video officially on the GRS Build-A-Cade, which is the official name for the machine. And I have like 3 other things I've been working on, but it comes down to time. But I really hope anyone, again, come see Bill, come down and see us tomorrow at the Long Island Gaming Expo. If you guys
Tuesday.
Are around.
Tuesday, Glenn, right? Or no, Wednesday?
Terrific Tuesday. And then, and Wednesday, Jayde will be joining us on Kicking It Old School.
She's going to be hanging out with the old guys.
Yes, she is.
Oh,
She doesn't know what a
boy.
retro set is, though, so I'm going to have to go over that.
You better bring your Depends, Jane. Guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. You know where to find everything. I do want to state, somebody made a comment back about the make or break, about how they didn't feel that it makes or breaks the console. It's just a fun little segment that we're doing to kind of bring attention to some of the failed games.
You will decide. You will make a decision. Okay.
she's telling me. and maybe by next week I'll actually be like, yeah, I got the MVSX. After she's going to text me and be like, "Did you buy it? Did you buy it?" So guys, really appreciate it. Next Friday we'll be back with some more game time. So we really appreciate it.
Beautiful Hounded.
And we will we'll see you guys next week. I was trying to find what the date was, but I guess it really doesn't matter.
It's 7 days from today.
It's 7 days from today. We'll see you next week, guys.